Greetings all, this is Nick from Those Hairy Gamers and welcome to my blank white table. I've got this table which is great for unboxing, great for taking pictures of nice small little things, and I'm like, oh yes, I'll have this ready for the unboxing today. But I had to zoom out so far that you can see a lot of my cupboard and some of the shit on the floor over there because this thing is fucking massive. Yes, this is the C-ROC Cruiser, the latest Star Wars X-Wing tabletop game expansion, the first scum epic ship, and oh boy does it look good. C-ROC, no idea what that stands for. Perhaps Jabba the Hutt was a fan of particularly shit footwear, or maybe he just liked the old 90s PlayStation game Croc Legend of the Gobbos. Perhaps it's completely arbitrary. We will never know. Let's open this bad boy up and have a look. Got my trusty hobby knife here, just in case anything wants to resist. I've cut it up real good. Okay, we have the ship itself. Let's try. Cool. Come on. Come on. There we go. That is a work of art. That is beautiful. So for those of you who don't know, it is a modified Gazanti cruiser, which is the Imperial assault carrier. Obviously this one does not carry TIE fighters, it carries a cargo as a rule. It's just covered in all these little dishes and stuff. That's its turbo laser turret thing that we'll get to in the upgrade soon enough. Nice bit of weathering on the front there. Pretty plain kind of paint job, not much variation going on there, but enough to keep it interesting. Certainly looks nice on the battlefield, that's for sure. And nice and sturdily built. I dig that. Also, amongst all of this mumbo jumbo, we have this little skiff fighter. I think it's pronounced skiff anyway, with a new paint job because they've finally given the scum faction some ship fixes. This is the skiff fighter ship fix, and on the way we have guns for hire for the Star Viper and Kirax. As a scum player, I much approve. Right, get rid of all that shit. We want only the cool stuff in this unboxing. Right, let's get rid of that. Box over there on the floor, making a lot of noise. There's your standard clear base and stuff for the skiff fighter. Won't bother opening that, we all know what that looks like. Let's take a look at the cool gubbins in here. Yep, white box. In the bin with it. We have 2 large bases and epic ship posts. Now, as a scum player, I've never owned any of these, so yippee. I've seen a lot of people use these on some of the large ships, like the IG-2000s or the Ghost. They work really well for that purpose, so I'm really chuffed to have some of these actually. A couple more large bases, never go astray. We got some special rules. Ah yes, these are the special missions that come with this. Smuggler's Lament. There's some kind of scoring chart with that. Very cool. Might have to have a go at that some stage. We have the special rules that refer to Epic, I believe. What is this? Yes, there's all the special rules on how to move your Epic ships and whatnot. Now, there was recently an FAQ relating to this because they missed out something. Basically, Epic ships in general have a blue line on their base, which dictates... which would usually be right there, and that dictates when a ship's shooting at it, whether it's shooting at its fore or its aft. And that matters because it takes different kind of damage for those sections. And they missed it out on this one, and everyone thought it was a mistake until FFG said, no, actually, everything within that firing arc becomes the fore section, everything out of it becomes the aft. We don't know whether that was just FFG going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, we forgot to do this, but hey, whatever. It still works, it's still cool. Let's open up all the templates and take a look. Yep, that's our template for our C-ROC there. Got our skiff fighter pilots here, and some more on the back. Very cool, very cool. We'll get onto the skiff fighter pilots in a minute when we go through the pilot cards. There's your dial for the C-ROC. one for the M3A. So just taking a look through these tokens here, we have these yellow things. I don't know what these do. We've got the little sort of, what do they call them? The binders or whatever, that they're Star Wars handcuffs essentially, but got these yellow symbols. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing that's going to refer to the special missions in some way. Yeah, got all your standard stuff though. A couple of hyperspace tokens. Again, they're probably mission related. A bunch of shield tokens, your stress, your dials and whatnot. That's all pretty standard fare. We have the epic maneuver template. We have all these illicit tokens. Now these relate to the Jabba the Hutt upgrade card, which I will show you in a minute, and I'll explain it then. There is the, what do you call it? The cargo card. That's a special upgrade card that relates to cargo that you can drop anywhere on the map, I believe. It's a very odd kind of thing. A couple of weapons-free tokens. They relate to some of the skiff upgrades and pilots. And your energy tokens for your epic ships. Very cool. But this is what I was really keen for. The upgrade and pilot cards. There were a couple of things in here that weren't released in any of the FFG articles. We had to wait for those to come out. First of all, we have several copies. We have, oh wow, we have five. We have 5 copies of the Arc Caster, a special cannon upgrade that flips. Basically, you have 4 dice. It must fire at range 1, and when it hits, you must assign 1 damage to another ship at range 1 of the defender. Which basically, unfortunately, means if there's no other ships around, that means that your ship must take it. In my opinion, that makes it a very weak card for the skiff because it has such little health. Yeah, it's a nice idea. I reckon that's going to be really cool on things like B-Wings that want to do a lot of damage at range 1 and perhaps want to take on swarms and that kind of stuff. I don't know. Not really sure on that upgrade card. Let's pop all that aside. We have As Morrigan, yes, the lovely scum character from the Rebels TV series. What does he do again? Yes. Basically, at the end phase, you can flip him face down to change out one of your crew or team cards to any other one with the same cost or lower. That basically means you can have your entire binder of upgrade cards next to you and just choose one on the fly, which is amazing. He can only go on huge ships, so only for epic play. Yeah, perhaps that would be a little OP for standard, but I can completely understand that. This guy, on the other hand, does the same thing with cargo or illicit slots, and he can be used in standard play. Shikatro Vizago. Start at the end phase, you can flip him face down to switch out one of your illicit or cargo slots for something of equal or lesser value. Cool idea. People are saying, oh, let's put a cloaking device on Payload Guldali and then switch it out for something else so the text on the cloaking device that breaks it can't activate and you can stay cloaked forever. It's a nice idea. I don't think it's going to be any meta-breaking sort of style of play, but a cool concept nonetheless. Righto, the big guy. Jabba the Hutt. Yes, this is the kind of underwhelming upgrade card that got an article about a month ago. Everyone went meh. I think because we had Palp a couple of years ago, and Palp basically did something, or rather does something, which is kind of meta-defining. He can change any dice roll on the fly. We all knew when that one came out how big that was going to be. When we saw Jabba the Hutt, we just thought, well, I can't really see how this is going to work. Basically, across your entire squad, you put a illicit token on all of your illicit upgrades, and when you're instructed to discard those upgrades, you can discard the token instead. Essentially, every illicit upgrade doubles up, and you can use it twice. Only issue is he takes up 2 crew slots, he's worth 5 points, so the cheapest platform he can go on, which is the Trandoshan Slaver, is worth 29 points. For 34 points, you get a pretty useless Trandoshan Slaver. And yeah, not too many amazing combos he can go with just yet. I'm thinking when he has a better platform, he'll go well with like Sabine Wren with 2 glitter stims, so she can essentially use 4 glitter stims and just rock shit with her ability. But right now, I don't really see the value in it. We have the Heavy Laser Turret. A cool 360-degree 4 dice attack, range 2 to 3, kind of like the TLT, but in epic form. Really cool. We have the IGRM Thug Droids. This is one that wasn't revealed, actually, until we got the pack itself. It is a team upgrade card worth 1 point. When attacking, you may change one of your hit results to a crit result. Pretty solid. If you don't have the points to spend on a big expensive team, that's quite cool. Kind of like a Ordnance Expert, but just for the epic ship in question. So that combos nicely with the heavy laser turret, I guess. That's kind of cool. The quick release cargo locks. Yes, this is the upgrade that discards the cargo token. At the end of the activation phase, you may discard this card to place 1 cargo token. Now, I actually haven't read the rules yet, but I don't know how the cargo token works. I believe it just goes anywhere on the board you like, which is awesome. We have the supercharged power cells. Another new thing. You may discard this card to roll 2 additional attack dice. Cool. That's a 3 cost. It's a 1-off 2 extra attack dice. Could be really good. You have to take that ace off the board, for example, in the middle of a game. That's a really good card to have up your sleeve. And it's worth 3 points, so if you take it and it turns out to be pretty freaking useless, you can use something like Shikatra or Zargo to switch it out for something better. Cool. I like the versatility of that kind of strategy. We have the Pulsed Ray Shield, the kind of fix for the Skick, although, to be honest, now that we've seen what's going to happen with the Kirax fighter, I think that's a much, much better option for the Kirax fighter. We're also looking at the possible Ion Discharge card, which gets rid of Ion tokens, which really makes this a pretty useless thing on the Skick, and it has much better options in terms of ships that can take it. It's alright. Basically, at the start of the end phase, you can recover 1 shield and take 1 Ion token. Pretty cool, but it televises the fact that your ship must take a 1 straight the next turn. I've been playtesting it, and I just don't see the value in it personally. I think maybe on really cheap skeeks, but if you're playing really cheap skeeks, you don't want to put 2-point upgrades on them. I've been trying them on the higher pilot skill aces, and every time I come to use it, I think, well, shit, if I use it, my entire enemy's fleet is going to pounce on him because they know exactly where he's going to be. It's kind of a useless card for aces, so I don't really know what they were thinking with that. We have automated protocols. Once per round, after you perform an action that is not a recover or reinforce action, you may spend 1 energy to perform a free recover or reinforce action. Cool. For 5 points, you get a bit more action economy on your epic ship. Excellent. Optimized generators. Once per round, when you assign an energy to an equipped upgrade card, gained 2 energy. Cool. If you've got like lots of weapons and stuff like that need to use energy, or I think it's the slicer tools from memory that do that, that's really useful. You can get more and more energy and sort of get more action economy out of those cards. The Heavy Skeek Interceptor. Now, this is a card that was already released. It's a title for the Skeek, but they've added the errated text, which adds a hull. Basically, for 2 points on your Skeek fighter, you can add a cannon, torp, or missile slot onto it. 1 of those, not 1 of each, which is kind of cool. Meant to represent the versatility of the Skeek, although the problem with it in its initial release is everyone basically put it on because it's a useless ship without it, which kind of doesn't adhere to the entire idea that it's meant to be versatile. A new title, we have the Light Sick Interceptor, which for -2 points, all your banks become green, which on the Sick was only the 3-speed banks, which weren't green, so that's okay. You've got a couple more greens, and every damage card you take goes face up. Bit of a risky card, but it makes the Sick buy-in value 12 points instead of 14, so it matches the lowest, cheapest ships in the game, which is TIE Fighters or Z-95 Headhunters, which is really cool. I don't know how competitive it's going to be versus those. I really want to see a 3-way match with TIE Fighters, Zeds, and Sick Fighters. That would be kind of cool. I want to try and set that up at some stage, but interesting card nonetheless. We have our 3 titles for the C-ROC Cruiser. Broken Horn adds 2 energy to your overall maximum. When defending, if you have a reinforced token, you may add 1 additional evade result. If you do, after defending, discard your reinforced token. That's kind of cool. If you're really, really desperate to get that extra evade, awesome, you can do that. It means you have to get rid of your reinforced token, but if it's the last time during the turn you defend, it doesn't really matter that much. So that's cool. That's a nice idea. Insatiable Wart for a cost of -1 energy. After you perform a recover action, gain 3 energy. So you're getting energy quite easily, but the overall cap is reduced, which is a bit more risky. It sounds like a scum strategy, so I dig it. But this is the cool one, Merchant 1. Your upgrade bar gains 1 additional crew and 1 additional team slot. It loses 1 cargo slot. Now this is good, because this is the card that gives the C-ROC 3 crew slots. This is the card that brings the party bus back. We know the party bus, ever since Zuckuss got a nerf, is pretty much dead. It just doesn't have the firepower it used to. But you can put Zuckuss on a C-ROC Cruiser. They are an epic ship. They ignore stress. It's not just bringing the party bus back, it's bringing it back with even more power. It is going to be fucking vicious. And I look forward to that. Apart from that, we have the damage deck for the fore and the aft section. There we go. I'm not going to go through all these cards. Because epic ships work with a different set of rules, like they don't take stress tokens, they don't have EPT slots, all that kind of crap. There's no point using the standard decks for them, so they've made a unique one for each of them, which is kind of cool. We have the pilot cards. Most importantly, the C-ROC Cruiser card. 4 energy, 0 agility, it's an epic ship, fair enough. 10 hull and 4 shield. So it is a 14 base hit point ship. Has the recover action, the reinforce action, target lock and jam. 2 crew, 1 hard point, obviously for the heavy laser turret thingamajig, whatever you call it. 1 team and 3 cargo. Comes in at a buying cost 5 points cheaper than the Gazanti Cruiser. I think the main reason for that is this guy doesn't have the docking clamps. You got to remember, on the Gazanti Cruiser, the docking clamps is a free upgrade, and that allows you to deploy ships in battle, and that gives it a really good tactical advantage over a lot of other epic ships. This can't do that. It has no free upgrades, it has no free titles. And I think the whole idea with making this a little bit cheaper is meant to represent that. You don't get that auto-add card. I mean, be honest, who fields an assault cruiser without the docking clamps? It's kind of a waste of time. So, that's cool. A nice addition to the epic ship range. We have, the Skeek pilots. Okay, I'm going to go back to front because we're getting better and better as we do that. The Cartel Spacer, the basic cheap Skeek pilot that we've always had. 14 points for a buy-in on the Skeek. We have the Tansari Point Veteran, the generic EPT slot style guy. 17 points for a pilot skill 5. Always cool. Now, we have the new guys. We have Sunny Bounder, a unique pilot at pilot skill 1. This guy is a loose cannon. He has the same buy-in cost as the Cartel Spacer, as in he is one of the cheapest pilots. Once per round, after you roll or re-roll dice, if you have the same result on each dice, you may add 1 matching result. That is potentially hilarious. If he takes a range 1 shot, has a focus token and rolls 3 focuses, he gets 4 focuses, you can spend the focus token and you have 4 hits. Which on a unequipped Skick is ridiculous. Basically, I think the go-to build with this guy will just be Light Skick Interceptor, making him 12 points, and that's it. That's it. We're not going to give him any cannons or anything like that. We're not going to give him any more defensive capabilities. We're going to keep his dice rolls low, so his ability is more likely to activate. And look, for 12 points, he might accidentally evade an advanced proton torpedo, or he might push through 4 damage accidentally onto your opponent's ace. He can potentially do those things. He might blow up really quickly, but that's kind of half the fun. It's high risk, high reward bullshit that we love with the Scum faction. We also have Inaldra. Now, Inaldra is an interesting card because at first glance, her pilot ability, which is when attacking or defending, you may spend 1 shield to re-roll any number of dice. Kind of seems costly. Spending a shield is not ideal, especially on a ship with such low health. Even with the heavy Skick title, she only has 3 hull and 1 shield, so spending that shield's kind of risky. However, the beauty about this pilot is she's only worth 15 points, and she has an EPT slot. She does have an EPT slot? Yes, she does have an EPT slot, which means she is actually the cheapest pilot on the Skiff Interceptor that has an EPT slot. She's 2 points cheaper than the generic pilot, which is awesome. If you need to save 2 points in your crew, say you want to have 4 Skeeks all with EPTs and like a tiny mind link or something, and you just need to save a couple of points, here it is. That's it. Look, the pilot ability is okay. It might save your butt. You might say take a 3-hit dice attack and she rolls her 3 greens and they're all blanks. Well, you may as well spend the shield because you're going to die otherwise. Why wouldn't you? It's a cool little idea. She kind of combos with the Pulse Ray Shield. I can kind of see what they were going for there. Again, I just think taking an Ion token is too costly. I actually haven't tried that combo yet, so I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I just think as a separate pilot with an EPT slot, just to save a couple of points, that's pretty solid. I do like that. We have Quinn Jester. Now, this is one of the cooler ones. At the start of the combat phase, you may receive a Weapons Disabled token to flip one of your discarded Torp or missile cards face up. She can regenerate torps or missiles. This is cool. This is so cool. For the first time ever, we have a Skiff pilot that doesn't want to take a cannon, which is awesome. I mean, the whole point of the heavy Skiff is meant to give the ship versatility, but you just want to give it a cannon. I mean, I can understand it. You want the thing that doesn't discard. You want the attack that you can use over and over again. That is more reliable. In general, cannon upgrades are almost always better than your ordnance. But not if you can keep reusing ordnance. This is really solid. Basically, 18 cost. I mean, the heavy Skiff title is an auto add on this, so it's basically a 20-point buy-in. You can just, I don't know, say Deadeye, heavy Skiff at 21 points. For 4 points, you could go Protons or Concussions and Guidance Chips for free, which puts it at 25 points. That's a pretty solid 25 points. It's a ship that, if left alone, is going to keep shooting and shooting and shooting. It's a very high priority target. And if you can field a high priority target for 25 points, you can field other high priority targets like aces and stuff like that. Alongside something like Fen Rao, where you're basically forcing your opponent to take out this guy first before Fen Rao, allows him to do a lot of damage. It's pretty solid. I like the costing. I like the pilot. Last but not least, this is the one I am the most hyped for. Genesis Red. This guy is very interesting. Pilot skill 7. After you acquire a target lock, assign focus and evade tokens to your ship until you have the same number of each token as the locked ship. You have an enemy ace or an enemy large ship with recon specialists. They load up with their tokens, whatever. Say Suntafel, he has his natural, bullshit with his 2 focus tokens and an evade token. You target lock him, you get the same. For 1 action, he can load up all the different kinds of tokens. Now, I will say, I have playtested this guy. I'm struggling to make him work. Skeeks don't have the best dial, so getting in the right position is tough. But there are ships that he loves. For example, any of the Ghost pilots with a recon spec. They're always getting those extra tokens. They're all low pilot skills, so he's always going to have the chance to target lock them after they take those tokens. That's great. The target lock and 2 focus tokens for 1 action is fantastic. Omega Leader. He loves Omega Leader. He always takes his evade. He might struggle to get a focus token off Omega Leader, but that's okay. For 1 action, taking the target lock and the evade token is well worth it. If any of you guys know, mention in the comment section because I'm trying to work out the best build for him. Basically, at this point in time, I'm thinking VI is pretty much the way to go. I've tried a Tiny Mind Link. A Tiny Mind Link makes a lot of sense because if he takes someone else's focus token, he then feeds the focus token out to the rest of your fleet. The problem is if you take a Tiny Mind Link, he's still on pilot skill 7. And he doesn't really work that well at pilot skill 7. He wants to get as high as possible so he can fly at the very last after everyone else and then take advantage of the fact that your enemy ships have already taken their tokens. That's why I'm thinking VI. Push the limits, I'm tempted by. Say your opponent only has an evade token. You can target lock them, take the evade token, and then push the limit for a focus token, giving you all 3 tokens. Again, that keeps him at pilot skill 7. So I'm a bit on the fence with this guy. I'm trying to work out what's the best way to use him. And if you guys wanted any more proof that I'm absolutely psyched to play him, I've already painted a Skeek just like him. As soon as I saw that card, I'm like, I went straight to my local game shop, bought a new Skeek, and painted him up. And I just love that paint scheme. I'm not the best painter in the world, but yeah, I do like it. I do like it. And that's it. That is your C-ROC Cruiser. Yeah, as I said, bit of a concern when it first came out, didn't have that blue line. That's been explained. I saw in a couple of forums people were concerned it didn't come with a range ruler. Just so you all know, there's no need for a range ruler with this guy. The reason they stock it with some of the epic ships is because some of their attacks go beyond range 3, so they have these special rulers that attach together and you have range, is it 4 and 5? I don't know. I don't own a Raider, so I don't know that shit. That shit be cray-cray, as they say. But yeah. Ooh. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. I am a giant man-child.